The Lennoxes are trying to restore to health one of the world's great rivers, the Ganges in India. And what a task it is. Working with an inspiring local scientist, they are not only trying to stop the Ganges being used as a sewer, but they must change the way Indians think about their sacred waterway. To Indians, the river Ganges is their mother. Ganga Mai, they call her. More than a river, it's a spiritual life force, the strongest connection to their most ancient traditions. And in front of their eyes, it's dying.
1,350 million liters of sewage goes into Ganga from beginning to end every day. For me, even a drop of sewage falling into the river before my eyes is something unbearable. And that is a disrespect being done to my mother.
The ancient, the modern, the heart and the mind can pull in different directions. As a scientist, Dr. V.V. Mishra knows the Ganges is now severely polluted. But as the high priest of one of Varanasi's biggest temples, Mahanchi they call him, it's his sacred duty to take this holy dip every day.
I want to take the holy dip because if I don't take holy dip, I think that my day has not begun.
Do the millions of people who live along the Ganges know that it is dangerously polluted?
No, they don't know this. But I know this.
Varanasi is one of the world's oldest living cities. This place has been a centre of art, music and religion well before Athens and Rome had risen to greatness. For about 3,000 years, people have been coming here to pray to their gods on the banks of the Ganges. The Hindus believe that Shiva created the universe here, and Buddhists say that Buddha preached his first sermon nearby. With so much religion, tradition and history, it's disturbing that what has long been sacred is now turning to poison.
It's the wish of every Hindu that they will come once in their lifetime to this place and bathe in the river.
And they're taking a dip that could kill them.
They are.
Sue and Colin Lennox were Sydney school teachers before they joined Dr. Mishra's research foundation to monitor and clean up the river. They mortgaged their house, going into debt to finance their annual pilgrimage to the Ganges. When you had to tell your own 3 kids why you were away from home, why you had hocked the house, why you'd put everything into this, how do you explain it to them?
It seems to me that, we concentrate a lot on the physical security of our kids, and I just reached a point where I went, what is the point of, my kids having a house or whatever if in 30 years' time the global water crisis is going to be such that we are leaving an absolute disaster for them to inherit, and we have no right to say to the kids, here, there's this mess, you clean it up. We as adults have got to set the role and be prepared to fully involve ourselves and fully think about how serious the situation is, both here and around the world.
Sounds like a job for Captain Planet.
No, yes. He's a hero.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
The campaign to clean up the gas spreading around the world. Cartoon series Captain Planet. And the real hero of this story, the good scientist and high priest Mahanchi.
If there's going to be hope for the Ganges, we must all learn to treat the sacred river with the respect she deserves.
His relationship to the river just breaks my heart, whenever I see that, and yet he's a scientist at the same time. And I think this mix of spirituality and science it's the way out.
Working here in Varanasi, Sue and Colin have both become ill with amoebic dysentery. As they showed us the worst of the local sites, they advised us to wear face masks for some protection against disease.
Right here next to Mother Teresa's hospice, we've got a sewage overflow. Sewage flows down here every morning, comes straight down out of that open pipe, through the drain, straight down into the river.
The Indian government regularly tests the Ganges, but not, say Colin and Sue, for the one thing that really shows how sick the river has become. The test kits they've brought from Australia are telling people what the government is not.
Now, this sample with a sterile bottle is for fecal coliforms, bacterial check to see what is in there, and that's really the definitive test for sewage pollution.
Is it always high here?
It's always high here.
At Dr. Mishra's foundation, on any given day, the news from the test tubes is all bad.
What would be a safe limit?
Any human waste in the water makes it unsafe to drink. Any reading over 200 makes it dangerous for bathing. But in some parts of the river, it's as high as 1.5 million.
Yes, the numbers were shocking.
Sue posts the daily results to try to tell the people of this city what they're wallowing in.
Visually, you know, it's not that bad in a lot of ways, but it was getting those fecal coliform results that really rammed home that this is a really dangerous situation for all these people.
Before the foundation started its work, there was not one sewage treatment plant in any of the 100 overcrowded cities along the river. The waste of 300 million people was being poured straight into the Ganges. The campaign has pressured the government to build some treatment plants, but they aren't coping. Millions of litres of raw sewage bypasses the Varanasi plant and flows straight down this channel into the river.
You see where the Savaruna River and the sewage comes down here, flows straight into the Ganga here, right where his village is.
Raw sewage.
Raw sewage.
The locals are simply not told about all the invisible killers that are now lurking in their water. So they still drink it, bathe in it, clean their teeth in it, even as it's making them sick. This village downstream of Varanasi was devastated by a vicious new strain of cholera after the sewer was diverted here in 1993. It killed in 9 hours, and it was mostly children it hit.
Near about 200 children died in that period.
What kills most of the children? What disease?
Cholera, the disease of cholera.
The tragic irony is, to treat cholera, you need clean water, and there isn't any here.
Right around this area, the groundwater is so contaminated that none of the wells are safe anymore.
And as he has said, that they're very poor, they can't afford the fuel to boil the water, so they have no choice but to drink it as it is.
There's simply no choice. You drink this water or you die of thirst.
The source of the Ganges is high up in the Himalayas. It's the beginning of a journey of 2,500 kilometres. Up here, the water is literally as pure as the driven snow. But it doesn't get far before it's polluted by people. Hindus make this religious pilgrimage to pay their respects to their gods near the source of the Ganges. But even up here in the middle hills of the Himalayas, these sacred waters are putrid. They pray right alongside this open sewer. For the Hindus, the sacred river is the beginning and end of the cycle of life. Death here is an extraordinary public ritual. The family gathers to watch the cremation, and when it's over, what's left goes into the Ganges. But the problem is that some Indians are so poor they can't afford this traditional cremation.
Every time we took a boat trip down the river, there were partly burnt or unburnt bodies floating, human bodies floating in the river.
The price of wood is so expensive that most people cannot afford to have a full wood-fired cremation. So if you're faced with the choice of feeding your children for the next 3 months or giving grandma a full cremation, what choice do you have?
As the river meanders through Varanasi, it carries a tide of waste. From here, among the floating carcasses of animals and sewage, the city still takes its drinking water. The problem may sound insurmountable, but the Foundation has a plan to stop any of Varanasi's raw sewage from going into the Ganges.
You know, the research has been done. We know there is appropriate technology in the form of oxidation ponds, and that, you know, with a small commitment from a large number of people, we could actually see the river clean within 5 years. And that's our vision, that the river will be clean within 5 years.
If we are successful, it will be a model which would inspire many other river cities of India and maybe outside.
In both roles, priest and professor, Mahanchi's message has been the same. Old Ma River is gravely ill, but people have the power to make her well again. Mahanchi, I've brought you a little gift from the source.
Oh,
That's how the Ganges looks at the beginning.
Such crystal clear water, sparkling. Oh, this is how we would like our water of Ganga to become, like this water. This sacred river has to be cared, has to be loved, and this is the time when she needs our help and our care.